Yo-SSU, Mina, it's Mark! This is my recap for Pokémon Horizons episode 103, Burn Hot Nidothing Love. This was the 1335th episode of the Pokemon anime, and wow, what a tremendous episode of television this was. We don't waste any time getting straight into the ridiculousness with Nidothing and Iono announcing their upcoming collab. This will be a meet and greet happening tomorrow in Levincia, where fans will get the chance to meet their favorite streamers, shake their hand, and maybe even hug them. Yeah, hugs sound a little weird to me, but hey, make sure you come early to get your numbered ticket, or else no handshake for you. We all know one superfan who's not going to miss out on a chance like this, and on a completely different note, now that Ludlow is back with the main cast, we get more of these weird cutaway scenes where he drops pearls of wisdom on us. Well, that or just bad puns, I'll let you decide. Our heroes talk about their plans for this event, and Alt just doesn't care about any of this, so he's gonna sit this one out. Liko can't believe he'd say that, but alright, I guess this scene writes Alt out of the rest of the episode and clues us in that Gimmighoul will be joining them. Already in Levincia, we see Zerk and Onya talking about how they've checked everywhere but still can't find Amethio. Onya suggests redoubling their efforts starting tomorrow, but the only thing Zerk wants to do tomorrow is go to that Nidothing event, which is completely understandable. We finally hit the opening theme, which got another small update. Charcadet is now by Liko's side in one scene. Not exactly groundbreaking stuff, but I thought I'd mention it. Anyways, it's the day of the big event and fans are starting to gather, including Liko, who's standing in line to get a ticket. Dot is like, hey idiot, I can get you in without one, but Liko takes offense to this and wants to prove her worth as a Nidothing fan. She ends up getting ticket number 78, but then runs into Grusha, who has kind of a weird cameo in this episode, to be honest. First, he barely remembers Liko and has nothing meaningful to say to our heroes, and he doesn't even seem like that big of a fan of Nidothing or Iono. Well, I guess he did get ticket number 6, so that does show some dedication. Another weird inclusion in this episode was Gimmighoul. Like I mentioned earlier, how it was tagging along to Levincia, but this is already the last time we're gonna see it, possessing a load of strangers, and I don't know, this just felt kind of pointless to me. Back to the important stuff though, Zerk has gotten his ticket, and it's even number 112, which just so happens to be the Pokedex number for Rhydon. Talk about perfect. Uh-oh, a big gust of wind just comes in and blew his ticket right out of his hand. It flies directly into the nearest storm drain because of course it does, and now the Explorer's biggest Nidothing fan is panicking. He tries to get the ticket back, but it's long gone. Time for a good old-fashioned depression arc. How will our hero ever recover from this? I love this stuff because obviously Zerk isn't even a hero at all. Well, at least originally he was a villain, but I always enjoy it when characters like these get humanized and show a range of emotions. Finally though, it's time for the moment we've all been expecting. The rising Voltaclers and Explorers have crossed paths. Even that's not enough to shake Zerk out of his funk, so we'll hold off on battling for now. They talk about how Zerk is a really big fan of Nidothing and that he really wanted to go to this event. Dot reflects on this, thinking back to the time when Zerk and Onya actually helped them battle the rest of the Explorers back in Laqua. She goes up and offers Zerk her ticket for the event. Not even sure why Dot got one, to be honest, but whatever. Zerk isn't having any of this and points out that Dot has the same Pokemon as Nidothing. Dot thinks the jig is up, but Zerk is just convinced that she too is a really big Nidothing fan, and he couldn't take away a ticket from another dedicated fan. Liko empathizes with his plight as a true Nidothing supporter, and even offers to help him look for his missing ticket. Zerk can't believe that Liko is actually the Sprigatito superfan, so the two really do share a connection. Dot calls Iono to let her know that they're going to be running late and asks if she knows anything about the city's drainage system. Iono says they could probably check around the central plaza, and so off our heroes go. We get a classic punchline moment when Onya reveals that her Golduck can't actually help them by swimming around because he's got sensitive skin and can't swim in seawater, which elicits the expected response from our heroes. Cue the mini montage of everyone searching far and wide for this ticket, but their efforts are unsuccessful. It's almost time for the event to start, and Iono is calling Dot, telling her to hurry up and get here, which almost reveals her secret to the Explorers, but she manages to get away without arousing too much suspicion. Zerk tells Roy and Liko that they should go on ahead too. It wouldn't be right for them to miss the event because of his missing ticket. Liko isn't having any of this. She challenges him as a Nidothing fan and says that they should keep looking until they find it. This was especially great because you can tell how strongly this resonated with Zerk and Onya. They needed this kind of resolve to help spur on their search for Amethio, beyond just the search for this ticket. They agree to keep searching, and it made me laugh because Zerk looked ready to fire off a Z move here. That's how passionate he was getting. Crocolore starts off this renewed search by running into something, and oh, wouldn't you know it, the thing he ran into was a Wugtrio that has Zerk's ticket stuck to it thanks to Wugtrio's gooey ability. This kicks off an intense back and forth of our heroes trying to get the ticket, which went on for far longer than it probably should have. I don't know, it just tickled me that a random Wugtrio proved to be trickier to defeat than almost all of the Lockbee-empowered Pokemon we fought lately. Leave it to Cap to save the day with Thunder Punch, paralyzing Wugtrio and creating an opening to grab the ticket. Zerk, whoa, this time he does whip out a Z-Ring and he has Rhydon use the exclusive Z-move Ultimate Nidothing Rush. What an epic moment! A move this powerful is enough to save the day, with Rhydon successfully recovering the ticket. Zerk is happy to have gotten it back and thanks our heroes for helping him. They rush off to the event, which to be honest I thought was just going to be a simple meet and greet, but it actually starts with some kind of performance. I did not expect to see Nidothing and Iono bursting onto the stage like classic Rey Mysterio, but they start entertaining the fans with some silly skits and segments, including an opportunity for one fan to come on stage and dance with Nidothing and Quaxwell. Nidothing picks Zerk and Rhydon, which just makes these two idiots' dreams come true. I mean, look at how happy they are. Zerk is completely overcome with emotion, and Rhydon may be an even bigger Nidothing fan than its trainer. Finally, it's time for the meet and greet portion of the event, and eagle-eyed fans will have noticed the surprise cameo here. See it? Let's zoom in. It's Navico, the Nidothing superfan that Liko and Roy met back in episode 93. Wow, this really is a fantastic episode of television. Even she gets to make her dreams come true. What a moment. Speaking of which, Liko is next in line and says, "I love you" to Nidothing. I am dying of laughter at this point, and Dot plays along by thanking Meowth's superfan for all her support. Zerk is up next, and Nidothing actually thanks him too, which was a nice callback all the way back to episode 19, where he gave Nidothing the tip of looking for Slurpuff Cotton Candy and Motostoke. Wow, this may just be the best written episode of television of all time. Grusha is next in line to meet Iono, who's surprised to see him. He doesn't freak out like some of these other weirdos and just tells her to keep up the good work. Onya spots him on his way out and starts fangirling over Grusha, who just keeps his cool and shakes her hand. I guess it is in character for him to be so subdued, but I still kind of wonder what was the point of him even being here. This actually bugged me so much because I felt like I was missing some kind of reference, so I tried searching for an answer, and the only thing I can find that makes any sense is this really obscure reference from some secret dialogue text in the Indigo Disc DLC, where Grusha reveals himself to be a longtime Iono fan. But even in this Easter egg moment, he actually rips Iono's content and says it's not very good, which is definitely not what he said in this episode. Anyways, now that the event is over, it's time for Liko and Roy to reunite with Dot. They head backstage to meet up with her, and Zerk decides to follow them so he can thank them again. Did Iono not even think to hire security for this event? They catch Dot just as she's getting out of her Nidothing suit, and while Liko remains true to the bit and won't look so she can keep believing in Nidothing, someone who does look is Zerk, and he can't believe what he's seeing. Caught in the act, there's no getting around this one. He starts to think back on all the decisions he's made in his life. I mean, really, you'd think the guy just got caught having an affair at a Coldplay concert or something. The only way to snap him out of this is by Nidothing making a shock reappearance, and yeah, just like that, Liko, Zerk, and Rhydon are basically in a trance. The episode ends back outside the event where Zerk and Onya decide to ask Liko something. They tell her about Amethio being missing and they need her help. Just her help, which is a little weird, but that's how this episode comes to an end. I think I've already made it pretty obvious that I greatly enjoyed this episode, and that's not just because I myself am such a big fan of Nidothing. Anytime the Pokemon anime gets this ridiculous, I am completely game, and I think it usually makes for some of my best review videos as well. I was a little hyperbolic about this before, but there really was some solid writing on display in this episode. We got all kinds of characters showing up and being used in strange ways, but all of it was still true to who they are and made complete sense if you know all the context. It wasn't just craziness for the sake of it, even the most ridiculous things made sense in this episode, and helped build to the greater purpose of Liko helping Zerk and Onya in their search for Amethio. Not only did she motivate them to keep looking for their lost friend, but they even invited Liko to join them on this quest. I am a little confused at why only Liko was going with them, but whatever. I hardly even noticed that Alt wasn't really in this episode, so I know they can be flexible with which characters appear and which do not. If anything, it was a good decision to not have Alt in this episode because that mega gave us more time to focus on everything else. I just have so many positives to highlight. I don't think think it's going to come as a surprise to anyone that I'm giving this episode an 8 out of 10 rating. As always, it's a little difficult for me to fully articulate how my feelings about an episode are quantified in my rating, but the simplest way I can explain this one is that I enjoyed this episode so much, but I feel like the actual content can only go as high as an 8. I don't know, it's all subjective anyways. Let me know how you would rate this episode down in the comments. In the preview for the next episode, they just straight up revealed that Amethio is back and that Liko found him. That was quick. It looks like that won't even be the focus of the episode either, with Liko's Charcadet set to take center stage. I did not expect this all to happen so fast, but I am excited to watch it next week. Well, actually, it's going to air 2 weeks from now on August 1st, so we have another gap between episodes. I said in my last review that I was going to use this extra time to post my video ranking Ash's Battle Frontier matches, but I'll be honest with you all, last Saturday I spent 13.5 hours straight watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, so I did not spend any time on making content. Yeah, I don't know if that's one of my proudest accomplishments or one of my saddest moments on this earth, but I'll tell you what, I enjoyed Yu-Gi-Oh! GX way more than I thought, and it even gives me the opportunity to activate my continuous spell card, Yu-Gi-Oh! Background Music. Now is probably when I should say gotcha, or that's game, or yo-su, but instead, I'll take this chance to say thank you all so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.